where CJ ended was kind of predestined or predetermined. My nephew was in fact born with bruises on his cheeks and cut marks because when he came down the birth canal, he had formed two fists and placed them on his cheeks. And it's quite profound because CJ, kind of went through life fighting the world. And CJ was always a rebel. And I think actually his suicide is testament to that. He truly made his own rules and he played by his own rules and he set them. The last thing we expected from CJ was to go join the National Guard because it's brainwashing. It's follow these orders. And Aunt Tricia was quite proud to say that he failed boot camp the first time around. Even though he was this great lacrosse player in high school and he was like this star athlete, he was very creative in nature. He was, 12 years old, maybe even younger, and discovered Van Gogh and thought it was the coolest thing ever. And so whenever he was in New York, he made a point to go to museums. And even when he was young, he was so excited to go to museums. And his last visit here, he went to see the Picasso exhibit. But I think that the blurring of the images and then the paint strokes of Impressionism is really what CJ was. So this portrait of a man.
On the floor.
And even though when he came home from Iraq, he no longer was charismatic or enthusiastic as he was when he had left. He still was charming and he still was funny, but there were in those quiet moments you could see that blankness behind his eyes that no longer was illuminated. His portrait, if he could paint it, would be as blurred as most Impressionist paintings, because it's not what I'm seeing, it's what I'm feeling when I'm around this young man. How does he make me feel? How does he feel within himself? And so there's always that blur. There's always that haze, because you can't quite pinpoint exactly who he was. He wasn't just your soldier. He wasn't just your typical 23-year-old Oregonian, hanging out and not doing much. And he wasn't your typical chef, or your typical son, or your typical nephew, or even your typical man.